Thank you, Gothpulsen, for subscribing. And welcome back. It's a hectic day. Final preparations for the big match, the Norway Gnomes against Mumbai Movers. And I gotta make sure that all of my players are on the line and ready. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking good. I'll be playing board 1 for the Gnomes today. It's gonna be interesting. I'll try streaming while playing, but I cannot make any guarantees as to how much focus I can have on relaying my thoughts. So my plan going into it is it's 15 minutes games, so there's going to be a lot of time, and hopefully I can say something sensible while my opponent is thinking. So that is plan A. If that fails, we have plan B. Plan B is just make things up as we go. And so it's a very interesting plan as well. Could be good to see in action. Good luck today, says Hamviking. No, Ghetto Porridge. And Hamviking thinks it's incredible how still I can sit. I must say that after starting these streams, I'm getting the weirdest compliments. The weirdest compliments. When exactly are the games starting? It's 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes. We're starting at the top of the hour. And now there's a lot of moves coming in the Solomon game. But it's just a placeholder for when my game starts. Stedia asks, video on demand only for subs. Is that on purpose? Yes, that is on purpose. Only video on demand for my subscribers. We have one debut. For the Norway Gnomes, it is our third board, Hansen, Torbjørn Ringdal Hansen. He is a first-time gnome, and he's one of the earliest coaches for Magnus Carlsen. He's a grandmaster, so we're fielding 3 grandmasters today. And even with 3 grandmasters, we're big underdogs on rating, but I like to think that we are underrated, especially our 4th board. Elham Abdullauf is our 4th board. 13-year-old Blitz whiz kid. Amazing Onion Man says sitting still is kind of an actual chess skill. Okay, we're off. So in the first round, I'm playing the lowest seeded Indian player. Some guy I never heard of. But that's... I've gotten used to not knowing all the Indian guys. So he's a not to be underestimated. Kelkar. I'm gonna try bishop b4 this time. So normally I'm doing bishop e7, but this time bishop b4 feels more aggressive. I'm good, Doctor Who. I think this is what you're supposed to play. In some lines, the bishop is hanging on d2. And then go e5. But it feels like I'm giving white a lot of developing moves. So it kind of feels wrong, but I never really remember the nuances in this position, this opening. I voted for Hammer in Fantasy, says G. Joe. Yeah, it's not really a vote. You try to pick whomever you think will get the most points. So more than voted for me, I think you're gambling on me. I did my fantasy picks yesterday, and I chose Salem Saleh. He's pretty strong. I wouldn't want to put all my eggs in the same basket. So I'm not picking myself, so that either I'm happy or my fantasy team is happy. I think now I go e5. And the point being that the bishop is hanging when you take. Now we just get this kind of position type thing, which is supposed to be okay for black. Just have the pawn here, control the b5 square so that no knight can come to b5. And then you go knight g6. I don't know, bishop rook e8. Bishop g4 maybe. And you see what happens. Maybe I should have gone bishop g4 immediately. Bishop g4. Where's the knight gonna go? Sometimes you go b5 and c5. It's pretty awkward for him to do something with the knight. Cannot go forward. Preferably wouldn't like to go backwards. And I'm threatening to take. Yeah, Salem is from the United Arab Emirates, UAE. We're playing Mumbai. Mumbai Movers from India. I have a good start. I have a solid lead on the clock. And I think my position is pretty good. Lots of pieces on the board, good chances to outplay. I'm seriously considering c6 here. Trying to go for the d4 square. I'm guessing bishop g5 is interesting. But then he gets a weak d-pawn. Okay, he goes for bishop g5. This is going to be interesting. Is he going to take on f6? Probably having gone bishop g5, he needs to take. Because otherwise I get some kind of knight f5, knight g6, rook c8. I think this pawn is not too good. And I have the option of going b5 at some moment. Slightly concerned about knight e4. I'm spending too much time. Oh man, I don't know. At some point you just gotta make a decision. Four minutes, 28 seconds. Wow. It's too much time. I'm spending too much time. So the only move I'm concerned about is knight e4. My idea is to go bishop f5 and just take it to make sure that my bishop is safe on d6. And then I can use my pawn majority and push it forward. And I'm basically saying that his pawn on d5 is a big weakness. Wow, let me brag, predicted my moves. Wow, wow. That's very good. Let's see you bragging, yeah. Okay, so he didn't go knight e4. And then I want to do something with his bishop. But maybe I want to go f6. I might even go f5. Okay, I'm down on time, but I like my position. I think as long as I manage to keep the blockade on the d6 with the d6 bishop, I think I'm better. I'm slightly concerned about my bishop over here. I think there might be some tactics with him moving the knight. So if given the opportunity, I want to do something with my bishop. Maybe I'll just take, actually. Maybe I'll just take on f3 and go f5 and push my pawns to the light squares. Now there's a big discussion on me selecting a chat move, and the suggester, let me bag bra, he's complimenting me on my play. Naturally, I played his move, so he's very happy. Now it's a big thing for Kelkar. Maybe he thinks it's okay to have such a big thing since I had one, but I was really uncomfortable. I really didn't want to spend 4.5 minutes for a move. And it was kind of a crisis situation because I couldn't decide on many different plans. But having decided on a plan, I'm reasonably happy. Yeah, so bishop h4. Probably this wouldn't have been possible if I had played f6. You know what? I'm just playing f5. There's also chances to trap the bishop now. And f5 also protects my bishop. Maybe I can push e4 at some point. And f5, one of the main things is to take control over the e4 square. because I want to protect my bishop on d6, which is doing a great blockading job, making sure that his central pawn is pretty irrelevant. So I want to keep my bishop, and therefore I need to stop him from going knight e4. So it's a multi-purpose move. If h3, I think I'm just taking on f3 and then going e4, maybe g5. Should be better for me. I want to go rook c8 at some point also, pointing down towards the white queen. In general, I have a lot of good moves here, so I'm very happy about my position. And my opponent is spending time, so probably he cannot. He's a bit insecure about what to do. Hey, Chesbey. Please hurt them, she says. I will try to do as much damage as I can. Okay, he goes h3, and I think I'm just going to take it. My bishop wouldn't be doing much on h5 anyhow. And now I have the option of going e4. I can go g5. e4, is there any chance he's going to take it? Sacrifice a piece? Probably not. I'll go e4. So now my biggest concern is his knight somehow getting to d4 and then to e6. But now I'm forcing his bishop back to e2, so that plan isn't going to be working for some time yet. I can go g5 now. g5 is a big move. Bishop g3 takes. But I'm not sure that's a change of pawn structure that's good for me. Probably it's just bad. So I should play pretty quickly, and I should go this rook c8. Just getting pieces into better squares. f4, that's very interesting. Big decision for Kelkar. f4. I'm tempted to give a check and then knight g6. Check and knight g6. Check, bishop f2. Can just move my queen. Queen c7, probably also a good move. Queen c7, takes, d6, takes, check. I spent too much time on that move. I had a very pleasant choice of stuff, and I think I should try to pressure him more on time. But I'm getting my queen out of the diagonal so that I can go knight g6 on the next move. His f4 plan would be much more effective if he could put a piece on e3. Like, I'm blocking his passed pawn with a bishop, and he would like to do that as well, with a bishop or a knight on e3, but he's nowhere close to getting the blockading piece. And now, knight g6 was my plan. Okay, I mean, he's just going into a defensive position, but maybe it's good enough for him. I'll go here, prevent bishop h5 in some lines. Now I'm gonna focus on his pawn. Get the rook into the center and start attacking d5. I'm happy with having both his bishops are neutralized. So both bishops are pretty poor in this position. Restricted by my pawns and by his own pawns. So these pawns are doing a good job of restricting his light squared bishop, and I got his own dark squared bishop blocked by his own pawn. Okay, he's probably trying to go g4. It's very interesting, actually. Probably a good move by him. I don't know. I really don't like this move. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just played something. I don't like the idea of giving up my bishop, but I'm hoping that I provoke him into going rook c1. Yeah. He's not that silly. So now I'm thinking maybe I can take, but then I'm giving up a lot of things that was good about my position. This is a very typical scenario. You played a pretty decent game and then you start losing control. So now it's just messy. I don't really know what's going on. Probably king h1 you can play. King h1 and I start taking stuff. Yeah, his bishops are still really, really poor. So I think even with me getting the knights against the bishops, I have a lot of pawn weaknesses in his position to attack. Yeah, I'm just gonna take it. Why is he thinking? He wants to consider forcing me into... maybe I could have taken on d5. Okay, I played too quickly there. I was too focused on getting this pawn and then the attack against... yeah, like that, but just like this, right? I should have stopped to think a bit about taking on d5. But now he's really low on time, so it's all good. Probably. His bishop on h2 is still poor. And he has no way of protecting the h3 pawn. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, if I take, I open an attack against this one. So probably I'm not going to take. But on the other hand, if I take this one, I put myself in a pin. I can always protect my knight by going backwards. I'm a little bit concerned. I really didn't like putting myself into that pin. And if I now go backward with the knight, he can maybe play g6. Nah, probably not. Bishop c4. I can probably flag him, but remember that there are increments. I really want this move to work. I couldn't get it working and I played it anyhow. That's the hallmark of every terrible decision. Oh. Yeah, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Okay, I got pretty lucky there, but had he played g6, I may have had some problems. I may have had. Maybe it's still. I might even be losing, actually. Not after that move, though. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm winning in the final position, but that was not good. I think I played a good opening. I think I massively outplayed him. And then I took this pawn on d5 and suddenly things got complicated. I think at some point I was definitely worse. I think even in the end game, even here, this might be worse for me because he gets the two connected pawns that are so far advanced. So I thought I was in danger of losing here. And also this decision to give up the two knights was just terrible. Because I did have a problem with my king. And I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of positions I was considering to go king h7. And I really should have done that to prevent this plan of g6 trapping the king. Yeah. Whew. King f7, king e6. Yeah, I considered that too. I didn't want his bishop to get to b3. I thought this pin would be pretty eternal. But I mean, I'm 2 pawns up. Why am I caring about... Yeah, no. A win is a win. Here's someone sensible in the chat. Shaker. A win is a win. It doesn't say you did... Yeah, a win is a win. That's absolutely correct. Seaman lost. Wow. Seaman lost against the number 3 Indian guy. That is not good. Elham lost. And Torbjörn won his game, I'm being told. So it's 2-2 after the first 4 games. There's a lot of stuff happening in the chat. I have no chance at following everything. There's 4 games today. 4 games, everybody against everybody. So everyone on one team is playing everybody on this second team. And yeah, we got off to a bit of a rocky start. Torbjörn won his game, which of course was very good, but it was countered by the fact that Seaman lost his game. So at 2-2, it's a very closely contested match. Torbjörn, Elham, Seaman, and I, we are the ones playing. Magnus isn't playing because he currently took the lead in Tata Steel. He needs to focus on the final 3 rounds there. Um, So in the next round, I will be playing the number 3 Indian guy, which I believe is Kunte. And Kunte just beat Seaman. Seaman just lost against this guy. So that's going to be important not to let their third board uh, beat us up. How does this work? Can't you just use a chess computer, says Valer. And no, I cannot. Everybody who plays has to sign a contract, basically saying that I will not cheat, and if I cheat, bad things will happen. And also, chess.com has a very advanced anti-cheating detection system. So most likely, if you cheat, you're gonna get caught. So the game I just played was a closely contested one. It was full of mistakes from both sides, which is pretty much what's normal. Humans don't really play chess very well, and this game was an example of that for both sides. No, Ori is refining his question. Why Magnus is not taking this rest day, but the other one. And I kind of understand Magnus because they have had 10 rounds in the last 13 days. So this rest day is kind of more important than the other one. Also, the tournament is getting closer to the end. There's going to be more thinking about how to win it rather than just enjoying life. If you watch the games at the chess.com live server, there's, I think, something you can toggle to get engine analysis. But I see ChessBase doing a good job of keeping those engine analysis out of the chat. So no suggesting engine moves, no chatting engine evaluations. That could actually get me in trouble. So none of that stuff. Next game should have started a minute ago. I'm not sure what has happened. Other 3 games are live. Okay, then I guess we should check those out. I'm just gonna ping myself to see that I'm on the line. Yeah, I am on the line. So if the other games have started, I guess we'll take a look at them. So this is Seaman with the white pieces playing against my last round opponent. Maybe Elham. I want to see how our kid is doing. He's playing a 2500 rated IM. And he's playing some kind of tricky opening. I've never seen Elham use this Caro-Kann before. Usually against me he plays the French. And then we have Torbjörn. Torbjörn has a very strange username. Apparently it's some kind of reference I don't understand. I googled it. Apparently it's some kind of TV show reference. A TV show I had never seen. I can't find his game. Did Torbjörn's game start? The chat can tell me. Torbjörn, did he start? Elham is pretty decent. He's 13 years old and he's doing very well in the Norwegian in the Norwegian speed chess circuit. But right now I cannot say I'm too happy. If he goes c5, then d5, and his bishop is trapped. So he's in trouble already, I would say. Yeah, I guess I'll have to go on Skype to see if something is happening. Yeah. Last year we had our own chat channel at chess.com. And Elham has lost his queen. Man. So Elham already losing with black against Puranik. Puranik was very strong in the last round. In the first round of the Pro Chess League, Puranik was one of the top scorers. And Seaman has a poor pawn structure in his game. Not a fantastic pawn structure. Take, he chose to take with the E pawn instead of the C pawn. But I guess he felt that the position wouldn't be fantastic if he were to play C takes D4. I still haven't been able to find Torbjörn's game. would remember if it would help if I remembered his username, but I can't remember that even. Okay, I'm getting a message that I have won my game by forfeit. Okay, so this is a very weird round. I have won my game by forfeit, and I cannot find Torbjörn's game. Elham has played a poor game and he's down a piece, with no real hope of survival. And that leaves Seaman's game as a very important one. And this is the current position. And I'm really not sure what's going on. My instinct is that black is a bit better. Something like Queen b6 hitting the bishop. I don't see what Seaman is doing. Queen b6, knight c4, rook takes, queen takes c2. Then white has a bishop pair, but black has good control over the hanging pawns. So I would say that black is a bit better here. Maybe now Seaman can go knight to e5. And then he has a decent position. Will somebody in the chat please remind me what my teammate's username is? So that I can type it in. Seaman is Greg Jr. This is Torbjörn. Yeah, I have... Oh, yeah. I messed up my screenshot by clicking that link, but... Is this Torbjörn? This looks like Aronian against Holt. I'm gonna go back out of that. And I messed up every single kind of screenshot I had. Okay, from now on, I'm not clicking any links, for sure. Let's see how we're doing. Seaman. Ah, here we have Torbjörn. We have found my teammate, and he's doing not very well. Vincent Mazuka, and that is some kind of reference to a TV show. And Torbjörn is... He doesn't have the bishop pair and he's a pawn down. So I'm not too excited about his position. So now Torbjörn is 2 pawns down. And my opponent just lost his internet connection. So that's my win from forfeit. It's just an internet connection issue. $2,200 GM, asks Ben Techers. No, Torbjörn is much stronger than that. But he got off to a pretty bad start here somewhere. somehow he lost his bishop pair. Yeah, something happened around here which did not work out in his favor. Elham is still a piece down in his game. So the least depressing is Seaman Agdestein with a passed pawn for Seaman. We really need a point from Seaman here. If he gets a point, then probably the match score will be 4-4. Very closely contested going into the final 2 rounds. Thomas has me on fantasy, and he's very happy about the fact that I am on 2-0, 2 wins, although 1 win was a forfeit. So that's them fantasy points. I made the mistake of not having myself on my own fantasy team. So instead I have Salam Saleh. He's pretty good as well. But on the other hand, I have Seaman on my fantasy. And he lost in the first round. So I really need him, both for the team and my fantasy. I will not comment on which one of those are my priorities. But in this case, my interest coincides. So let's go Seaman. Salem has apparently drawn his first game against the Oslo Trolls. So good on the Norwegian kids, keeping Salem honest. Seaman is up 2 minutes on the clock, and if we recall, my game against this guy, Kelka, was pretty much decided with him getting a low on time. And this b5 move, I think Seaman is pretty happy about. Because now he's gotten the protected passed pawn on c5, but even more so, the queen on a4 is completely out of play. I would imagine Seaman doing something like bishop f1 just to provoke a6. And then the black queen is just completely out of play. But on the other hand, there's not really any clear play for white either. White has a really bad bishop on b2. He has a pretty bad bishop on g2. So black's pieces make more sense. But his queen is really offside. So it feels like if black is able to put his queen somewhere better, like d7 instead of a4, do some kind of like this, then black could be better. But on the other hand, if black were to move his queen, then white gets the option to go a4. So I think the black queen is stuck. And then there's a question of whether Seaman is able to do something with his own queen. Because a queen against this king, he's not really accomplishing a lot without bringing more pieces into attack. there seems to be some kind of disagreement about the current results. So Elham has lost his game, and therefore they have one win in this round, and I got my game on a forfeit. So it's 1-1 this round and 3-3 for the entire match. And then we have Torbjörn, who got off to a really bumpy start. His opponent no longer has the bishop pair, but Torbjörn is a pawn down in addition to being forced into a rook exchange. So it's not looking good. Knight f5, then rook d3, just exchanging the rook. And the bishop, very good long range piece, can assist in helping the pawn majority on the queen side, the white pawn majority, to do something over there. When was the last time you played against Magnus Carlsen? Says Marius Chris. The last time I played against Magnus, I won. It was 2015. 2015 in the Norway chess tournament in Stavanger. Let's go back to Seaman's game. Okay, so what happened since we were here last? The black queen has gone back, enabling Seaman to go a4, so he gets a bit more space. Seaman has gotten a bishop for a knight, but he's still stuck with this bishop on b2, which is not doing much at all. So if I were Seaman, I'll do a5, a6 just to be funky, and then do something like rook e1 and put the bishop on d2. So now I'm liking Seaman's position. I think Seaman is making progress, and his opponent has a very tough time of doing anything, because the black rooks are just blocked by different stuff. There's 4 half-open lines in the position, no, 3. But one of them is blocked by a black pawn, and the other ones are blocked by white pawns. So the black rooks are not able to do much, whereas Seaman has more space to play behind. So Seaman is going to go a6 and then do something about this bishop. HMW Live is mentioning the fact that I have lost several times to Magnus in 1-minute chess the past month. So yeah, if you meant the last time I ever played Magnus in any competition, and I do not get the I'm not allowed to kind of mention casually that, you know, I beat the world champion, then yes, I have lost a lot of games. I maybe the question was about real life. I certainly took it as if it was. That's my excuse. But the chat seems very eager to point out that I got massively crushed in Bullet. And we even have chess in the Twitch chat in order to comment or clarify why the forfeits are the forfeit score was delayed. So on the official stream, they were a bit later to announce my forfeit win than the chat I got on the communication I got on Facebook. Okay, so I'm gonna take a quick look at Torbjörn. Yeah, Torbjörn's position is still a complete disaster. So it's depressing Looking at it, I'm gonna go with Seaman's game instead. We need Seaman to win this in order to keep a tied match. And now we see that Abisgelkar has gotten his pawn down to b3. And this causes trouble for white because he wants to reroute his bishop. And it's difficult for him to kind of move the bishop now because now it's the main blockading piece of the b3 pawn. So rook a4 I think is probably just to stop knight b4. It's a very tricky position. Very tricky. This could go either way. And now, unfortunately, Seaman is using a lot of time. It's a difficult position for both players. And Seaman is spending a lot of time trying to figure it out. And he did have a 2-minute time advantage at some point. But now he's down to 4 minutes. GM Coney asks, what shampoo and conditioner do you use? I would tell you, but I couldn't possibly. I wouldn't want to do advertising for somebody who is not sponsoring the show. Oh wow, Seaman is going for the repetition. Seaman is going for the draw. Maybe he should take it. I mean, on one hand, it's bad for us that we end up behind. But on the other hand, it's better to make a draw than to lose. And so if he feels like he cannot find a good plan to continue, then he should take the draw. This is interesting. It's very tempting now to go knight f6. And if Seaman goes bishop f3, then it would have been a repetition. But after knight f6, there's the possibility of playing d5, sacrificing, well, basically both pawns in order to be able to bring the rook over to the other side. Wow, Seaman is really going for it now, playing f4. Now, yeah, sometimes my mic settings are low. Sometimes I'm not speaking in the right direction. Sometimes I'm just speaking the other way than where the mic is. All my settings are pushed up max, I'm pretty sure. So if you have sound trouble, I'm afraid there's nothing that I know of that I can do. Yeah, it's a bug. I mean, Torbjorn standing there with a 2200 rating, it's just a bug, I think. I think they haven't just put in his the rating that counts for the Pro Chess League. Yeah, Seaman is really going for it. But on the other hand, he might very well lose this game. I mean, the white position, his bishops are just so terrible. And by going up with his pawns, he's in danger of overextending himself. But this was very clever. Queen d1. He's provoking his opponent into going queen bishop c2, and then he goes queen f3 and claims that he slightly improved the position of his queen, getting ready to go rook e5. You can hear a Facebook chat? In that case, I'm doing something wrong. Because I cannot hear it. Maybe I'm supposed to do this one. Mute default speakers. Microphone. I apologize if there has been any Facebook chat. I did my utmost to prevent that, but maybe I tricked myself. No, I think actually it was my fault. There's normally in the software I'm muting my speakers, and this time I muted my own speakers, so I cannot hear anything. But it could be that you heard stuff. Okay, Seaman is going to maybe lose this game. A lot of stuff happened. Let's see, queen d1. Rook a3, knight f6. And now rook takes c5. The rooks are coming. The rooks are coming. Both players in time trouble. Seaman's king is much, much more unsafe than the black king. It's looking like trouble for Seaman Agdestein. Two more games left. VH. Two more games left. And it's a very close match, but this might be a crucial moment. Can Seaman play rook e5? Rook e5, then black has to go rook takes g2. And then bishop check, but then you go d5. He's going for it. Take, has to take, no other choice than to sacrifice the rook. Take back, then you give a check. Probably Seaman needs to go d5, but then he's losing a pawn, and the pawn on h5 is in trouble. But d5 takes, exchange queens and go a6. Maybe there's some hope of getting the a7 pawn. Wow! Wow, Seaman is keeping the queens on. Seaman refuses to give back the exchange. But that looks naive at best. It feels like there's absolutely no chance he's going to survive this attack. He has 39 seconds left. His opponent has 1 minute. And now bishop d5. I like that. That's a very cool move. It just puts the bishop on d5, preventing white from going d5 to open up for the bishop. So the bishop on b2 is now buried forever, and there's some rook coming down on one of the queenside ranks. And if we go down in this game, it means that we lost 3 games and got 1 forfeit win. So that's a terrible round for the Gnomes. And Seaman is my fantasy pick. Oh no. Should have went for the draw, says Selinam. Yeah, should have, could have, would have. It's so easy to say after the fact, but I had the feeling that Seaman was playing more for a loss than a win. It just, every single one of his pieces looked so bad. Wow, that's interesting. I think that was a mistake by Black. Spending time to get his queen to take the pawn. That was a mistake from Black. Because it's opening up diagonals for White. And Seaman is illustrating this immediately by the fact that he has the open diagonal toward the pawn on a7. 10 seconds left for Seaman, 16 for his opponent. And Seaman is gradually forcing his queen back. Seaman is now back in the game. Seaman is going to try to win this game. Go a6, a6. Okay, queen c7. I'm not sure I like that. I kind of like the defensive position of the queen, especially how the game has gone so far. Queen c7. Black should go a6 maybe before his opponent can. Wow, rook c3. Seaman is avoiding queen exchange. Why wouldn't you? And Seaman has... No. Seaman went for rook. No. Yes. No. I have no idea what's going on. Both players very low on time. Seaman seems to... No, he's getting checkmated on a2. No, queen back. Queen back. a6. Go a6. No, go a6. g6. That's interesting. But now I think, yeah, no. Ooh, that's risky. Maybe a good move from... No! That was an intense game. That was seriously intense. Wow, good fighting back for Seaman. At some point I thought he was just lost, and then he managed to fight back into a winning position. And then to lose the game on time, that's such a hard thing to come back from. a6. I really wanted Seaman to go a6 at some point. I really think he was doing stuff over on this side. And I really think he should just go a6. And then you have a chance to just take the a pawn and queen at some point, right? At some point you can get your bishop to take this pawn. But yeah, you cannot second guess decisions made with under 10 seconds left. That's just... It's a game of its own. And Seaman had no pawns ahead of his, in front of his king. So it was always going to be very difficult. But yeah, he's going to be upset with himself. It's not a good feeling losing a game like this. It's not just my country, it's my team. I'm literally the organizer, the administrator, the team captain. It's not that I care so much for my country. This is just pure self-interest. And my Seaman is also on my fantasy team. How can I not be invested in his games? And thank you to Chess Bay for clipping. I should post that on Twitter, I suppose. Norwegians in the chat questioning my patriotism. Self-interest over patriotism. Probably. Probably you could get criticized for both. The next game is in 2 minutes. I didn't get to play this round. I didn't get to play this round. So I could be a little bit not ready. It's definitely a different feeling doing commentary than playing myself. So it's going to be a tricky one. I'll definitely need to win. The Norway Gnomes are down 5-3. So we have to catch 2 games in the last 8. And that's going to be a huge challenge. Okay, 1 more minute and we'll have another round. "5-3 is the score. 5-3 for Mumbai. And we're off. Let's do D4 today. Play some boring stuff against what is probably a very strong young Indian international master. I think I remember this name from last week. He was the top scorer for the Mumbai team. I can't tell whether I tricked him or he tricked me. Probably he tricked me. This is a very tricky opening. And I haven't studied this for a while. It's gonna be a very complicated game. I think maybe I'm supposed to play Queen C2 here. Now if knight takes d5, then rook d1. Okay, e4. I think I'm supposed to go knight d4, but I don't really understand why. Why can't I just take this pawn? Maybe there's some rook takes and bishop f5. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to go knight d4. But I think knight d4 is such an ugly move. Take. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to go knight d4. So I'm just going to do it without understanding anything that's going on. To me, taking on e4 looks good. But there might be some tactics. And if there are some tactics, then I might just lose the game here and just on the spot. So I'm going to go knight d4, even though I dislike it, because I think that's the move you're supposed to play. And this is when your memory plays tricks on you, because sometimes you remember this move being important, and then you just play it at the wrong time. So now he should take, of course. And then go f5. And then I think I'm supposed to do something with his knight on a5. Maybe b4 and a4. Essentially, I might end up losing my pawn. And I might end up in a position where I'd rather be 2 pawns down than 1 pawn down. Because taking and playing f5 is going to be a very serious weakening of his king. So he's just happy that I have a pawn on d4, which would be standing in the way of my pieces. Okay, he's played knight takes d5. Interesting. This might be an opportunity for me because I don't recall that as being one of the main moves. Knight takes e4 might be a good move. But then he can take and go bishop f5. Do I want to avoid that? I'm not sure. I can take on d5. I'm going to calculate. Björn asks, have you considered whether your opponent might be listening in? Yeah, I considered that. And I think it would just be a disaster for him. Having my voice in his head, or rather on his screen whilst playing, I think it would mess him up much more than it would help him. And also, it's not like I'm dropping that many hints either. So I considered putting my stream on a delay, but I decided no, it's not gonna be to their advantage to listen to me anyhow. And Stieg says basically the same thing, that it would be more of a distraction than actually helpful. So I have a partner in opinion. He's taking his time. I'm gonna take some tea. Okay, he took on d4. And he has to follow up with bishop f5. It feels like, it feels like even b4 and bishop b2 is pretty good for me. So I just feel like I have many good options here. Actually, maybe that's just a clever way of doing things. Yeah, I think actually this one I quite like. Because then I also get a protection on the b2, the d4 pawn. And I'm ready to go rook. Get the rook into play. And if he now ever moves his knight, then my bishop on b2 would be very good. So kind of it's similar to Seaman's game. Wow. Okay, that I did not see. Okay, that was a very good move. Suddenly I go from liking my position to hating it. Yeah, no, this just went sideways very quickly. I wanted to go bishop g5, but then takes queen d4, rook d1, and he has a check. So at this point, I'm just trying to make a draw. And I think, well, if he takes on d4 now, I will go bishop b2, and I will have a massive attack on the long diagonal. So yeah, I was kind of expecting him to do something like that. And then I will make a draw, or try to make a draw in an end game. Basically, my thinking would be that with the bishop pair, I have bad pawns, but I have the bishop pair, so I should be fine in most endings. Worst case scenario, getting into some opposite colored bishop thing with a pawn down maybe. So I should have okay drawing chances here. Maybe I can do something like this. Okay, so knight b6, he wants to go to c4. Or maybe he wants to go with his bishop back. I'll probably just go here. This is kind of something to help my a3 pawn. It's probably the biggest weakness in my position. And so by taking off the rooks, I'm hoping to... Well, I'm basically hoping that the bishop pair will mean that I make a draw, even with the bad pawn structure. And now he can go instantly with knight c4, and it's going to be a draw. Which is not good for my team. But I think from the position I got after knight b3 was such a good move. That I think, yeah, I'm not sure I could have avoided it. So he's going to play for a win, go bishop c4, trying to get into a knight against bishop scenario, and I'm not going to allow that. And that's the benefit of having the bishop pair, is that they're so long range pieces and I can always avoid the exchange. Or at least I hope so, in order to make a draw. So next move is putting the bishop back on c1, where it protects the a3 pawn. And I don't see myself losing this. I think I'm fine. Yeah, he's just gonna go for the draw. I think if he doesn't go for the draw, I'm pretty happy. Because my team is in trouble. And he keeps disconnecting. So I think not going for the draw would be unwise of him. Ah, he actually offered a draw. I wasn't told. I'm sorry. I just get a message in the chat that I have declined a draw offer. I never got the message that there was a draw for it to accept. Okay, so it's a draw. It was a bad opening. He knew the line better than me, it seems. Gave up his bishop to ruin my pawn structure. I was not too happy about that. And yeah. And so it became a draw. Maybe my opponent would have tried more if not for the fact that they are up in the match. So let's follow some of the other Norwegians. We have Seaman, who really needs to strike back with a win. And he's losing. Wow. Seaman is dead lost with an exchange down. That is not good. He's actually, I mean, it's not good for my fantasy team. It's not good for my for the Gnomes. Everything is basically bad about this. We need Hansen to win. So let's see how the other Norwegians are doing. Let's follow Hansen. Hansen is 8 minutes up on the clock. Torbjörn is having a pretty good debut. He had a bad game the last one, but here he's a rook and bishop up. So it's not really that interesting. He's going to win this game, and we got the resignation. So that's a point for us. And then we have Elham. And Elham is down to 1 minute on the clock, and he's down a rook. Elham is down a rook. He's sacrificing his bishop, but it's not really gonna help because he's a rook down. It's pretty limited what you can do with a rook down. And Elham has given up his queen. That's not going to work. So we're down to the last game. It's Seaman with an exchange down against Gosh. But Seaman has a much better position now than he had earlier. Bishop h4 would be a mistake because of bishop takes f4. But maybe there's something else he can do. So bishop takes f4 is a threat in this position. Maybe queen c2 takes. Yeah, it's tricky. Still tricky because of the king position. The king position is not doing any favors. Okay, so queen d3. I like this move. Protecting the d4 knight so that bishop takes f4 is no longer possible. But on the other hand, now maybe bishop b6. So I think essentially what Seaman is doing is that he needs to play bishop h4 as quickly as possible. So he's gonna, I don't think he had any choice but to allow his pawn structure to be ruined by bishop takes d4. And so he just needs to go bishop h4 and hope for the best. Eilertson goes, what? There's fantasy chess? Yeah, it's new for the season. The Pro Chess League with a fantasy competition. The winner can get a platinum membership at chess.com. And let's just say that my fantasy team is in shambles. So if you followed me last night when I did my team on stream, um, and if you copied my team, I can say nothing but sorry. And also, I did warn you whilst doing it that I no guarantees I was gonna hit it. Okay, so Seaman is saying that no ruining my pawn structure. I'm gonna use my bishop to protect the knight, but then knight d5 is gonna be a problem. What is fantasy chess? Asks Megit. Yeah, it's just you pick players on each team and you hope that they score well. So you pick 16 players, a first board, second board, third board, and fourth board in the 4 different divisions, conferences, whatever, how you choose to do it. And I'm getting trouble from Magnus Carlsen on my Facebook, saying that the team needed a win. Why did you make a draw? Because if I had not made a draw, I would have been lost. I'm pretty sure. And if I wasn't lost, then my positional understanding is just lacking. Eilertson goes, please tell us about this fantasy chess. I need it in my life. Yeah, no, I follow my stream. I did my pick, my fantasy pick. I did on stream. So you pick players from each conference, division, however you choose to call it. There's a link somewhere. Maybe I can find the link. Yeah, I can't find the link. They're not too good with the website stuff, but do stay tuned, and I'll probably be doing next week's picks on stream as well. So just keep following my streams, and you'll get my crappy advice as well as links to the competition. Henning goes, in the few times I've watched the show, I've never witnessed the Gnomes win. I'm thinking we should ban you from watching the Pro Chess League, Henning. Marius asks, are you doing the TV2 Tata Steel commentary tomorrow? Yes, starting from 1:30 Oslo time. We're doing Tata Steel commentary. The last 3 rounds, Magnus Carlsen in a good position to win the whole thing. And it's a big round because he's playing another co-leader, Mamedyarov. Liam suggests banning Henning from watching. Free rook. No. I saw that you can take the rook, so I thought this is fantastic. But as it turns out, there's a queen f2 checkmate, which is a bit of an issue for white. So Seaman did not take the rook. And now we have a queen exchange, taking on c3, going rook a5. This pawn is going to fall. But on the other hand, might be one of the better positions Seaman has had the whole game. I take that back. This pawn is in trouble, and now the a pawn is just running down the board. No way to stop it. Visigoth says, can you dress up like the gnome picture when broadcasting? I actually had the idea yesterday that I should get some gnomes mugs. I'm very happy to get some suggestions for kind of, because I think the logo is kind of funny. So I could do a gnomes mug and have it for the broadcast. I can do a t-shirt is a bit, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe a sweater, but I'm not too sure about that either. Something that's recognizable and that you actually need to have close to the computer. So I'm thinking a mug for my tea. That's and then get a nice Gnomes logo. And we already have our first buyer. Liam is saying that he would buy a mug. So maybe I'll get 2 mugs, one for me and one for Liam. Yeah, Seaman lost on time, but that doesn't really matter. In this case, he was already dead lost. So losing on time didn't make a difference. It was a bigger problem the last time round, because then he actually had a good position, but lost on time. So yeah, also he's not playing on a very good internet connection. He told me that he was having some trouble. So that's how it goes, unfortunately. But it's a long season. I'm not gonna be too concerned even if we lose this match. First, we have a league play, and we just need to be the top half of the league to qualify for the knockout stages. So even if we lose this match, it's not the end of the world, but it's not good either. So we have some bad memories from the last season, in which we started off really poorly, and just by a miracle we managed to qualify. So hopefully we can pick up some steam. The next Pro Chess League match, we're going to focus on this one, but after that there's going to be the Oslo Derby, and there's going to be a lot of prestige. The Oslo Trolls against the Norway Gnomes. And there's prestige on the table. Jimmy remains the optimist. If we sweep the last round, we're going to win the match. And that is true. And once actually last season, we were up by, I think, the same amount of score. I think last season we were up by 3 points before the last game, and we ended up losing every single game. So we have personal experience that it's possible to turn everything around in the last round. Jungle Rundle is missing Carlsen. I can't wait till Carlsen comes back, he says. 4 wins coming up, says Zinc. VH98 is recommending the Norwegian curling team pants. If you haven't seen them already, you really should Google it. You're not going to regret it. The Norwegian curling team pants. But the thing is that you cannot see my pants anyhow, so. Focus now. No more reading chat, says Affexon. I'll focus when my game starts. Mid king, king mid. Also missing Carlson. He plays such exciting chess on the line. In general in the speed chess time controls, Magnus is just a beast. There's no competing with him. No one's even close, in my opinion. The next game should start in 4 minutes, I think. Who came up with the logos? Asks Marius. That is the chess.com designers. Chess.com designers came up with the logo. And I'm really happy with it. The name is my responsibility. So if you like it, I'll take all credit. If you don't like it, I made a mistake saying that it was all mine. I should have waited to see whether people like it or not, and then I can take credit or not. We always knew this matchup was going to be a tough one, says Maiden 3. Yeah, it from the rosters, it looked like a tough game, tough match. Salem Saleh is doing well for my fantasy team. Yeah, I kind of stopped caring about that on the 3rd loss for my 2nd board pick. Agdestein has not been having the best of days. But I had faith in him. I had a lot of faith in him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have picked him for my fantasy team, of course. You should drink coffee, not tea, says a guy whose nickname is something with coffee in it. I think you're biased, my friend. I'm calling you out on biased opinions. Marius says Seaman is Norway's Ivanchuk, and I mean that in the best way possible. Marius is having some format questions, and Alex is doing a good job of answering in the chat. 4 players for each team, and everybody plays everybody on the opposite team. 1 more minute for the last game. And Seaman is making jokes on the team Facebook channel. And he's actually maybe getting the toughest opponent in the last round. The Indian second board guy has been the strongest one. Or at least he was last week. So I should play for a win. How do you play for a win? I'll play something solid, but with many pieces on the board. I think for playing for a win, this is a pretty decent opening. If I want to, I can go h5, h4. But probably I don't want to. It's not really my kind of thing. Okay, e4. That's pretty early. Take, 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 take. Knight d7. Queen c7. Ah, there's d4 and then e5. Yeah, that might actually be a problem for me. So I should probably take on e4 in order to prevent the pawns from advancing. Take, take. Knight up. I don't know. I think maybe queen takes could be interesting. My development is pretty good. Queen c7 threatens on g3. But is it more than a cheapo? Probably not. I'm gonna take. There's also some pressure knowing that Magnus is sitting watching. And also him having already criticized my decision to make a draw in the last game. You kind of, it festers in the back of your head that I better not make a mistake right now. I'm gonna castle and then maybe go knight e5. But I don't want my knight to be pushed back with f4 and e5. So I'll go knight e5 depending on whether I'm happy with what he's doing. Yeah, so knight d2, I thought he might do that. And I'm gonna castle, I think. And now knight b3 is likely, trying to push my bishop away, and then a4. Breaking news, Magnus, Hammer fired as team captain. Magnus to take over. Yeah, it could happen. Being wiped out by the Mumbai movers was the last straw for the... Yeah, the thing is that there's no higher power than me, to some extent. I'm the benevolent dictator of the Norway Gnomes. A role I think I really enjoy. Benevolent dictator who would be like to be anything else. It's just the best thing. I want to go g5 to be a bit preventive about this. And he wants to go knight c4. You know what? I think I'm going to go knight e5. Knight e5, I'm stopping all sorts of knight c4 ideas. But even more so, I might actually want him to go f4. This is a surprising decision to me. I really expected him to try to keep his bishop. Maybe bishop b4 is good now. Bishop b4, rook e2. h5 maybe. I'm gonna try it out. It can't hurt. People in the chat suggesting that Magnus might just as well just play a 4 board simultaneous to win the Pro Chess League. I think he would like that. No depending on other people. Just killing everybody on his own terms. I'd watch that. Definitely. I'd watch that. So I think my idea is rook e2, h5. And the idea of h5 is to go g5, g4 afterwards. And also rook e2 means that he's blocking his bishop, so then he can never go back. He could play c3, but then he's got to ask himself, why didn't I just go back with a bishop earlier? I'm going to play a bit quickly. So now knight b3. Knight b3. Knight b3 stops g5. So I don't know what to do then. I don't know how desperate I am to play g5. After knight b3, maybe I should even consider stuff like moving my knight. Maybe I can go knight d7. Yeah, this is a good move. Knight b3, knight d7, and then go either g5 or take on f3 and go knight e5 next. I like that. I like that a lot. Knight d7. So I think probably a3 was a big slight mistake, because he lets me get the bishop back to e7 so that I can play g5 in some lines. I think my bishop is better on e7 than b4. Elham is doing great. Torbjörn is winning and Elham has a good position. Big news from the chat. And the question being, of course, Seaman Agdestein having lost his 3 games already and playing a very strong Indian guy. Jimmy Ray asks, maybe have MC Hammer Can't Touch This in the background. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think after MC Hammer went bankrupt or whatever, his songs have the most intense bankruptcy lawyers. I think MC Hammer went bankrupt, and then some kind of lawyer dudes bought the rights to his music, and it's not cheap. How about Bishop f6 with some threats to b2? I'm even impressing myself just suggesting that move. Yeah, it looks good. But should I take here first? No. So bishop f6. Maybe he needs to go bishop g5. I can take on g5. Takes back. Take on f3. Maybe not take on f3. Maybe go... bishop g5 takes knight h2. Might win a pawn. Knight h2. That's a very cool tactic. I think I'm playing pretty well this game. I definitely have a lot of pressure against Gosh. And I got him to play c3. It feels like a major accomplishment. Maybe I can go rook d3. If I force him to make the exchange, then bishop e3, knight f3, g5 coming. I'm really happy about my play so far, but this is usually the time of day when I start making some silly mistakes. On the other hand, rook d1 is very good as well. Rook d1 is also a very good move. Maybe rook d1, he has rook d2. No, rook c2. I shouldn't be spending this much time. I'll go rook d3. So I'm expecting bishop e3. Bishop e3, I'm intending knight to c4. Bishop f4 instead. Knight f3. If knight d2, I can just go e5. I can just go g5. It's checkmate. That's good. Checkmate is good. Checkmate is very good. So I guess he's going knight c5. Knight c5, rook d8, e5. e5. Maybe I can go g5. Maybe. e5, bishop back, knight e4. g5 takes. That's not gonna work. Maybe after knight e4 I can just go rook h5. I have some tempting options. And I'm guessing that his only option is to get the knight to e4 as fast as possible. So here, should I go g5? Takes, takes. Probably it's a very bad idea. g5 takes, takes. You can even go rook e4. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's close to being something for black. It's very close. But if I go bishop e7, knight e4, it also feels very scary for black, for white. I mean, I have 3 different advantages in that position. Bishop takes h4. It's never gonna work. Rook d5. No. So g5 or bishop e7. Bishop e7, knight here, rook here. I'm not sure. And then I can go there. Check. It's close. Maybe I can even go rook d5. I'm gonna do this. I'm thinking rook b h5. I have a lot of moves here. I can go f5, f6, rook d5, rook d3, rook h8. Feels like a massive position for me. f5 is actually one of my favorites. f5. Maybe I shouldn't have put my rook here. Maybe in some lines I'd rather double on the d file. Because I'm not even sure I'm threatening knight takes e5. Because if knight takes e5, then knight g5 is a good counter threat. So I'm not sure I want to take this pawn. I'm going to focus more on doing f5 and making g5 possible. Creating threats against the black king, opening the h file. check. This I thought was not very good for him. I thought this move now. Is he really going to take this pawn? Do I even care? I might go take, and if he takes, then I have g5. g5 is just such a strong move, right? I think so. b6 would have also been a good move, but I think I just want to let him take it and checkmate him on the other side. f5 is good. Take on h4. Probably good. Take, take, take. There. Check. Back. Should be good enough to win. f5. Is f5 even better? Probably f5 is even better. Unless he has some bishop e7 move. I think I'm just completely winning. Takes, takes, check, king g3. Check, back, check. Check. F5 is also good. F5, bishop c5. Rook here. It's one of the trickiest things in chess, having multiple good moves. I'm spending way too much time on this decision. I know it, he knows it. Everybody knows. No, f5. I gotta stop thinking. Is he giving the exchange? Let's do this just in case. I think if I took with the knight, maybe he was planning rook takes. Ah, no, but if rook takes, then I have f3. I should have taken with the knight. But I think this will also work. Is this not checkmate? That is game of the week contender. Game of the week contender right there. Booyah! Game of the week contender. That was a great game. Fantastic. How is the team doing? How is the team doing? Seaman is still playing. Seaman is better. Seaman is better with black. Seaman is doing pretty good. Seaman is better with black. How is the other guys? How did Elham do? 2-0 Gnomes. Gnomes are up by 2. And Elham is still playing. Let's see. Elham is in trouble. Ah, man. Elham is in trouble. So if we lose this one, we lost the match. If we lose this one, we lose the match. Elham with the white pieces. His pawns are nowhere near as far advanced as the black pawns. C4 is a good move. He's just gonna run his pawn and hope for the best. Rook f3 is also a good move. Also a very good move. I don't think Elham can do the exchange. So he'll probably play rook e7. And now h4. h4 is a good move. These pawns are just going to checkmate the white king. Yeah. Rook f2. And then h4. Maybe this is a more accurate... No, because now white is threatening rook takes e4. Now you're threatening rook takes e4. That check was not very clever. That was not a good check. So g3, yeah, maybe g3. And now the big question is, how about c5? c5 threatening bishop d5. Also threatening to just walk the pawn to become a new queen. Now Elham has counter chances now. He has counter chances. Is there a checkmate? What if king f3? That's a big question. King f3, then bishop d5 would go into a checkmate. But how about king f3? Then I give a check. King g3 and c6. c6, just running the pawn. That could be good. Ah, but then knight d2 is winning for black. The knight d2 is winning. So king f3 I think is the best move here. King f3, maybe Elham can go bishop d1 check. And then there's no longer checkmate on the back rank. This is complicated stuff. King f3, bishop d1 check. That's a good one. Information from Sheppy in the chat. Elham had a repetition earlier and tried to play for a win. So this guy is not afraid of anybody. He's gotten beaten up quite a lot today. He has 3 losses so far, but he's not afraid to play some international master, even with an 1800 rating. King f3 has been played, and now I really think that Elham needs to play bishop d1 check. Okay, he goes rook f7 instead. And now I think if c6, then knight d2 is a good move. But it's a very close call. Let's go to Seaman. Seaman with the black pieces, and Seaman is winning his game. Seaman is going to win his game with the black pieces. Actually, his opponent is just going to resign right now because he just blundered a piece. So Seaman is going to win his game. The Gnomes were 3 behind before the last game, and now it's tied. We're tied, and now knight f4 check, and we'll get a pawn ending, which Seaman Augustin with the black pieces is going to win. He might not even go for the pawn ending. He might just take with a rook and then go knight e6 to win the d4 pawn. So Seaman is going to win his game. We need Elham to make at least a draw, and it's trouble because his opponent has a fierce attack going on, and Elham was just checkmated. Elham gets checkmated just as he's about to queen his pawn. Elham gets checkmated. The Mumbai movers have won the game, but it's by the closest margin possible. The closest margin possible. Seaman Augustin getting 3 consecutive losses. He's going to come back in the important last round game, and he's going to win that one. But to no avail. He's gonna win this one, but unfortunately it's just too late. We come back from 3 behind, we come back. And I guess to some extent it was the fact that we were 3 behind that made Elham avoid a repetition earlier, because he couldn't possibly know that it would have been enough to secure match victory. And now knight f2 from Seaman. Knight f2 will seal the deal. What an ending to this match. It was never really close, but when it mattered the most, we came back swinging, and we managed to create a lot of trouble for the Indian team. But as it happens, 8.5, that's the winning score. Well fought, Gnomes, says Maiden3 in the chat. We'll take the trolls next week, says HMW Live. And Seaman has won his game to get on the scoreboard. And the Gnomes win 3-1 in the final round. But unfortunately, it's I think it's an 8.5, 7.5 loss. Jimmy Ray in the chat going, Carlson was right. Hammer shouldn't have taken that draw. We blame Hammer. The chat suddenly got somewhat hostile. What's the final result? I think the final result is 8.5 for the Mumbai Movers and 7.5 for the Norway Gnomes. So we end up losing the match by the closest possible margin. Such a well fought match, says Chess Bay. which is repeated by Liam, the very same sentiment. He even phrased it the very same way. Such a good match. Thanks for streaming, Hammer, says Liam. Chess Bay says, your second game was a masterpiece. The second game was the worst one. That's the one I made a draw. Three fantastic games, says Yusevic. Other than becoming worse with white in one game. But it happens. I'm very happy to make 3.5. I got a forfeit win. So it's really only 2.5 out of 3. But it's a good score for me. I really think that the final game was very, very good. And I think it might become a candidate for the game of the week. Though Mandy or Thomas or Tom Andy, that's it, Tom Andy asks, will you participate in Norway chess again in the future? If I am invited, I will participate for sure. My problem the last couple of years has been that, number one, I lost the qualifier they hosted, and number two, the second time I was not invited. So if invited, I'll be back. I got a new fan in Megit. Super entertaining stream. So it's a yeah, I'll try to see if I can find the results somewhere. Let's go to prochessleague.com and see if I can screen grab results and standings. Yeah, here. Let's see. Pairings. No. Games. Standings. No. Okay, it doesn't seem like I'm able to do it. But in other news, the Daily Dynamites have already beaten the Oslo Trolls in their match. So India 2, Norway 0 in today's Pro Chess League matches. And do keep in mind that the next Pro Chess League game will be on Wednesday. So Wednesday is the normal Pro Chess League match day. There was an exception now because of the Tata Steel tournament coinciding with a rest day. So the next match is Wednesday, January 31st. And Norway Gnomes will be playing the Oslo Trolls. I'll be hosting the stream in Norwegian, actually, and will be, amongst other things, get some front page time on Twitch for the Norwegian broadcasts. So there's a big city derby coming up for that. Yeah, and also I'm getting better at the Twitch kind of thing. So I think what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna go offline, and then I'm I'll do the host for the official broadcast for the Pro Chess League. So the Pro Chess League is gonna keep on throughout the night. It's gonna last for another 6 hours at least. So I'm gonna be hosting the official chess.com pro chess league commentary. And I'll consider everybody asking for an English stream for the Oslo Derby. But normally when I make up my mind, I'm not gonna change it. I'm a bit backwards that time, that way. So that's it from me. I'll go offline. I'll do my very first trying to get you viewers to watch the other show. Um, can somebody explain to me the rating? Can I do rating now? Can I? I never understand that. And Chess Bay is reiterating that I should make emotes and sub badges. It's coming up. I'm just very busy at the moment. I'll keep it in mind. I hope to have some by the end of January. Rating, teach me rating. Okay, I'll guess I'll take it one step at a time. So the command I know now is host, and I'll do the hosting thing. See ya, everybody. Have a good one.